This is a new experience for me, something I've never done before. We're going to be doing a live R2Kast here in the SAYFC tent. Colin, feel free to do a circuit. Look at that, fantastic. What a great looking place we have here. Some great folk. There's the National Chair of Comms and Marketing with our little train ticket. Fantastic. I am Wallace Curry, Vice Chair of Comms and Marketing here at SAYFC. You may or may not recognise this here title. That is my podcast. We've had 102 guests so far, kindly sponsored by A-Plan Rural Insurance, as you will see here, who you can look up if you have any insurance requirements. Today, for the next hour, we can watch this live on Instagram, or hopefully, as you'll see here, we're filming it, which I'll just check that we actually have started recording. We have, I know how things work. Going to have some great guests throughout the day. Colin, would you like to turn the camera around and show your face? That man will be on soon enough. You know him as West Chair, you know him as Mr. Colin McKinnon, famous around these parts. We will soon introduce our first guest, Mrs. Jane Strawhorn, National Chair. A big deal for me to bring her from 100 yards to here. It took 3.5 hours. We'll also have Cammy Wilson, we'll have Christine Cuthbertson, and I believe there's other people that I can't remember off the top of my head. Colin, can you? Grant and Jacqueline, they are fit people. I am not. But it is time to kick off, and we will welcome Jane on. Jane, would you like to come and say hello? Jane is in fact my best friend.
No, but thank you so much for the offer.
Now, you could look at us two and think, are they in Barbados? We're actually not. We're here in Ayr, and the weather is technically better than you would find in the Caribbean. Jane, would you like to take a little seat? I'll sit down too as well. Colin, feel free to come closer if you desire. Now, Jane, the first question I have for you is, who are you?
So I am Jane Strawhorn. I am originally from Cusrojan Farmers in Ayrshire. I am the immediate past West Chair, and I'm now SAYFC National Chair for the next year.
So when did you start with Young Farmers?
I started with Young Farmers when I was about 14, 15 years old, so I've always been in Young Farmers, always been active. I've done various things at club, district, regional and national level, so I can't really remember a time when I wasn't doing Young Farmers.
So if you started at 14, there's people behind us here, probably some younger than 14, that'll be maybe looking to join Young Farmers. There's people waving to you, Jane, because you're famous.
Well,
this is the
so
paparazzi you could expect.
So popular.
Is it a club that welcomes 14-year-olds? What can it offer?
Absolutely. I feel, especially the kind of competitions we'll go on today, there's a junior section for handicrafts, and there will be people in these teams who are 14, 15, 16 years old, completely out of comfort zone, doing things they never thought they would possibly do, and really showing off exactly what SAYFC is all about, which is healthy competition, competing against each other and competing as a team. And it's great to see so many teams here at West today in terms of handicrafts, and to what different competitions we've got on. It's just amazing, really good.
If you're interested in Jane's long-term story, we'll still be here for another 5 or 10 minutes. You can go and check the R2Kast number 63, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Where we spoke for about an hour and a half about Jane's life working at castles and working as a paralegal. We will get into that second part in a minute, but you mentioned that you've competed club, district, region, national level.
Yep.
What opportunities has SAYFC given Jane Strawhorn?
I think for me personally, I've always wanted to be organising in and about, being secretary, doing different things, but that's just me. There's so many opportunities for everyone. We've got an amazing international travel programme which offers the opportunity to go to countries you would never normally go to. There is training courses that we offer, sheep shearing, things like that. There are so many things that I can't even think of just now, but it really is. I've always found there's something for everyone. You're never going to be stuck. If you want to go travel, there's a whole programme for you. If you want to be an office bearer, do things like that, there's office bearer training. There's so many things open to you, so many things you can do. It's just maybe having people around you that will be able to point you in the right direction, because it can be a wee bit like, oh my goodness, there's so much here. So having someone there to be able to be like, this is maybe something you should be doing that is always helpful.
I'd probably reiterate that point. I mean, you joined at 14.
14, yeah.
I joined at 25, not even a year ago, and also the opportunities that's offered me. Like now working with comms and marketing with this stuff, I've always been interested in it. but speaking to professionals and that, learning how to use that, and the something for everyone thing is really true. Have you done international travel yourself?
I have not, but only because I was supposed to go to Russia, and then the pandemic happened, and then Russia happened. So of all the trips that year, that was the only one which for all those reasons wasn't reorganised. But for example, my sister, she's been to South Africa and she's going to India in the summer. Like, she's had so many benefits on that side of it. So like I say, like, we could not whip like chalk and cheese like what we wanted, but we're still in the same organisation because there is something for everyone, which is why it's so great.
And that was Mauchline members, yeah?
Another great combination.
Yes,
another great combination.
This is it. That's a really good point about yourself and Ailey, that you're completely different, you want different things, and yet you both get fantastic things out of young farmers. So, absolutely. This year, is it Canada, Croatia, India?
The big trips this year are, so the Agri and Rural Affairs Tour, study tour is in Canada in July. There is the trip to India, there's a trip to Croatia. There are some members who are going to the European Rally, which is in Austria this year, which is an amazing opportunity. Rally is a really, really good one, especially for meeting people, which an organisation like this is a huge thing, being able to meet people, not just in Scotland, but there'll be countries come to European Rally from across the world, really. So it's going to be a really fun one.
It's an awesome networking opportunity.
Yeah, 100%.
So, we don't want to sit here forever. You're the busiest woman I know. Jane, as I said at the start, and I are best friends. And it was a joy to spend time with her, and I'm sure she feels the exact same way.
So, on the same page.
But tell us about non-SAYFC, Jane, because this isn't your job. You must spend a lot of time doing this, but there's a career behind that as well.
This is like my 5 to 9. I suppose probably 5 to midnight some nights.
5 to 9 in the morning.
Just keeps going to the end. So no, this is not my job as much as some people, more fans, as much as some people might think it is. It's actually not what I do full time, although I seem to be everywhere all the time and chatting to people all the time. I am a family and child law paralegal in Kilmarnock, and that is what pays the bills. So yeah.
Have you done that for a while?
Probably about, where I'm just now 3 years, total probably about 6 years now, I think, something like that, off the top of my head probably about that. So yeah, I love it.
Well, do you know, I have no idea how long this has been. Does it have a time on the live? It'll have a time on the thing. 8 minutes, that's about what I was getting after. It's really weird, I've never done this before.
Me neither.
Yeah, you're famous. You're used to doing this. I'm conscious we should probably let Jane go back to being Jane Strawhorn, the person that runs the show, the person in charge of everything your show, everything Young Farmers for the next year. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it hugely.
No problem.
And our next guest is just here. I would just
my sidekick.
Your sidekick indeed.
My number 2.
Would you have 8 minutes to hold the camera? Or could we find someone else?
I can spare 8 minutes to hold the camera.
You're an absolute star. I don't want to do without you. Right, if you swap holding that phone, I'll take the mic, just go up the call and we'll stop the phone. This bit's going to be a wee bit of an admin nightmare. We'll work it out. Right, so just before we get started with another episode of the R2Kast, I would like to thank our primary sponsors, A-Plan Rural. A-Plan Rural are heavily involved on the social media scene in the ag space with 120,000 followers on Instagram. They use this following to host social media takeovers with farmers throughout the country to showcase their stories. They also post to their rural community blog with further stories about these people in the industry. On top of this, they like to support initiatives that are championing the British agricultural industry, such as myself. So thank you to A-Plan Rural for that. Well, you were made for camera, it must be said. Made for camera.
For one of his business. For you?
I've got a face for radio. What can I say?
But you know, actually, the R2Kast, and just quick thank you to A-Plan for assisting here. The R2Kast has got a non-food and farming side as well, called the All In Podcast, and I do have a guest host for that, ex-Laura Nistdale chairperson Ed Martin, and his words were about me as a podcaster was I have a face for podcasting, so it's a joy to have someone alongside me in the same position. Have any of you been involved in doing handicrafts, you two? Are you allowed to at your level?
Not this year. I have actually been involved 2 years, done West and Highland as well, national, so pretty high scoring with some nice trophies that I made. So
you won national 3 times? So Jane, just turn the camera around and tell everyone. Okay, fair.
No.
They won't hear you.
Not that Jane likes to brag about it, but she's actually won national. Is it national 3 times? 3 times. You know, she's very modest though. Very modest about it. Very modest.
Look at the smile. Colin, would you like to come over to the R2Kast live chair? The only chair on the planet almost as bad as the electric chair. Now, I mentioned earlier Jane was on R2Kast number 63. We do have another repeat offender, and if I can remember the number, I believe it was 57 that you were on. That sounds about right. So if you want to hear this lovely gentleman's story, I said Jane was my best friend. Colin's actually also my best friend because I'm very popular, you see. Colin, a lower-nist man, like my good self, has worked his way up, quite like Jane, to West Chair currently. Yeah. The question is that a position of national chair that you're interested in?
Now, I don't think I could ever fill the boots of Jane. So, plus I think the mileage of my pickup might get that painfully bad that I would have to spend a lot of money on something slightly more fuel efficient.
I can imagine. There's a lot of dedication required in young farmers if you continue. You know, if you remember, you get a lot of fantastic benefits. But how much time are you dedicating to young farmers these days?
Realistically, actually, now I'm at the West level. The day-to-day stuff, it's been quite nice this year to like club events, lower nist. I'm still very involved, but can come along just as a social member. Have the fun, go back to like what it was 16, 17 year old. So actually the workload has changed, but or maybe half an hour a night just going through sorting out paperwork, helping get events organised and things. We've obviously got Emily, our staff member, who's an absolute godsend for us in the West and in the East of course as well, so she's worth her weight in gold. So yeah, that does take a bit of pressure off, but I've went from looking after say 90 members to now we've got a spread of over 1,500 members to look after across the West, so the priorities kind of change a bit that way for sure.
Do you have an idea? You said 1,500 in the West, which Jane, if you want to pan round there, four districts with how many clubs? I can't count that quick.
24?
Looks about right. It's more than 12, right? So if you're in any of these regions, any of those places, and you want to join, be sure to either come along today, meet us at the Highland Show, get in touch. You get in touch with the website, is that how that goes?
Yeah,
get in touch with social media and we can get you joined on as a member. I can't stress how fun it's been at my age. James said at 14, when did you start, Colin?
I was 15 as well, yeah. Yep.
We mentioned earlier that Jane has a lot of time, spends a lot of time doing young farmer stuff. Colin is also a very busy man as well. Colin, do you want to tell us about your life outside young farmers, because there's a lot?
Yeah, so obviously day to day is not young farmers. Day to day is agri engineer for James Gordon's Limited down in Dumfries. They are predominantly Claas machinery dealership, along with a lot of others. So that's the day to day. The side track of the day to day is contracting business, McKinnon Ag contracts. So we're now obviously just getting into the heart of silage season, which always lands on our show, so things are crazy at home, but the dedicated team is getting on with things. So yeah, we're running 5 tractors now, so five lots of headaches, I would guess.
And am I right in saying 3 years ago McKinnon Ag didn't exist?
McKinnon Ag didn't exist, yeah.
And you've got 5 tractors.
It was a COVID wonder dream, and it's just kind of developed from there. So yeah, we've just got signed up for number 5, and it's out for its first day today. So
is it?
Yeah,
good.
It's quite emotional that I'm obviously here, but priorities go everyone. As I say, the staff team are pretty good, so I can trust them to get on.
As a man that knows nothing about tractors, I do believe there's horses inside them. How many horses is this tractor?
This tractor is 165. There's more than 65 horses inside it.
Just to show, for those that are watching and not listening on Spotify, this bonus episode, Jane was behind the camera like this. So how did getting into Gordon's happen? Is that just apply for a job, or is there more to that?
That was just a kind of a general interest in farming, interest in machinery through growing up in farms and whatever else. wanted to get in the industry but not directly as a farm worker, so this is a good path, good career, really good prospects, and it's tailored on. So what have I been? It'll be 12 years in June that I've been at Gordon's, so it's been went through my apprenticeship obviously at SAYFC, and that was just a general progression all the way through it. Really enjoyed it, to be fair. So
12 years in a career. Colin is an old man.
I'm very old man.
The one thing that, how to say this, about 14 months ago you and I were sat in a pub and you said I should join Young Farmers, and I was a bit wary and whatnot, and you sold it to me with quite a few things, saying that you could do this, do that, do whatever. What's your favourite thing about Young Farmers?
I think it's, and I think that Jane will agree, once you come out of the club bubble, so to speak, the connections I've made across the country through Young Farmers I would have probably never made. Like, so obviously Jane from Ayrshire, Michael from Lanarkshire, I've obviously got friends up north, we've got Karen here across from Butte today, you know. How many other organisations do you get that opportunity to meet such a wide social circle and connect? It's friends for life. You'll probably find this out more on this day. We're having their 80th anniversary next year. We will have members that have been come back, that they were in our shoes 40, 50 years ago, and they've still got those friends and connections. It's friends for life, absolutely.
I mean, I'm holding back the tears that I wasn't mentioned, but it's fine. I think you mentioned a really important thing there. You said, Butte, North, Ayrshire, whatever. You're meeting these folk that in a normal organisation you wouldn't. It's probably quite important to mention that Young Farmers is not just for farmers.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, we know ourselves how many people have we got involved that aren't actually in farm-based employment or haven't come from a farming background. There's so many success stories through it as well. People that haven't been in that industry but have ended up actually coming to Young Farmers, enjoying things, and they've seen this is a career path I want to be involved in.
No, and I mean, think for the farm-based employed that are involved in SAYFC Young Farmers, that's a massive cultural benefit in that regard. Right, we've got to bring him on. Go on. And then you come. Len, you wanted to come say hello?
You did.
So you are on camera. No, and you come. This is a very famous man. I'm sure we all know this is you and Irvin. I always say it wrong. Emma, and you come. Very good.
So
From this farming life. Now, I'm going to quickly ask you. We're currently doing a podcast, but would you have 10 minutes? Perfect. Right. Well, in 2 minutes. Yes, live. You'll be on it in 2 minutes. Okay. Just wait around. We'll have you on. So. I tell you what, can I come and get you for 2 seconds? Okay, perfect, you're a star. Well, you're stars. I actually would rather speak to Len, if that's okay. So I'm quite famous too, because I'm friends with the fancy people. Where were we again? I can't remember. Very important that those that are in farming get to see a massive cultural diversity, those out with, and those that are out with get to see that in. It's a massive benefit to
members. Absolutely, 100%.
Just one last question for you, Colin. You mentioned that sort of progression to national, regional level level for yourself. You really started to open up to meet more and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
People aren't going to be joining at that level, so speak to what joining a club offers.
I think a club level can offer you so many opportunities. Our training here, for example, handicraft skills, like so many things that can cover across into life, likes of our stock judging, simple things like that. If you're working with cattle every day and you're wanting to be scoring cattle, you're trying to sort things out for going to market, like it's skills. If you're buying cattle, whatever else, like even our sports, simple things like sports teams like hockey, football, rugby, tug of war. How many people would have got involved with tug of war if it wasn't for Young Farmers? It's such an infectious sport and everybody loves to watch it and get involved. And then you've got your training opportunity. Jane touched on the international stuff. Again, how many organisations are going to help fund a trip for you to India, Croatia, New Zealand, a homestay in America for 2 months? It's the opportunities are endless, absolutely endless, and it's that thing of, if you join as a member, the more you will get more out of it, the more you put in. The more opportunities you take. Absolutely.
Because I mean, I sort of joined as a social member and I gained so much from that.
Yeah.
But when I started to get involved, it was great. And I mean, I'm a massive fan of concert. That was my thing.
That's it.
What an experience. Just an absolutely great
Like,
time.
wait, did you ever think you'd be on the Armadillo stage performing?
Well, I didn't, but also I ended up not actually really performing because I buggered my shoulder. But apart from that, it's fine.
You're still there, you're still part of the show.
Quite an awesome experience, actually. But no, Mr. McKinnon, my best friend, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Wallace.
And I'm just going to quickly bring Jane over a wee bit closer and point to these jumpers here. Sky, if you're watching, I'm sure you'll be very happy that you're getting a shout out here. SAYFC is not just here for member involvement, for events. We also are aware that COVID has happened. Mental health is a thing we're now talking about. It's no longer taboo, which is amazing. I've had struggles, I'm sure Colin's had struggles, I'm sure James had struggles, sorry to bring them up. We should talk about it. And there is this Are You OK campaign. I am not okay because I'm too chubby for this, but it's fine. This is not, I must say, this is not a hotline for help. This is a way that we can get you the correct help required and offer what is out there. Sky, if I butchered that, I apologise, but I just wanted to quickly bring that over. Our next guest, I don't actually know who's going to hold the camera, but I should probably steal the mic from you. Are you needed somewhere? Am I going to need to steal someone else?
I can hold the camera, don't worry.
So our next guest, you will recognise as Emma, Ewan and Len. Obviously Len is the star of the show. Emma Gray Shepherdess, Ewan Irvin from This Farming Life. Look at Len and Ewan. How cute is that? How cute is that? Absolutely amazing. So, guys, would you like to come on? All three of you, absolutely. Who wants to have the mic on? You have the mic on, Emma? Right, so we'll pop you on there. Is that okay?
Yeah.
How are you getting on? You
Yeah,
well?
good. How are you?
Very good. I'll just chuck that in a pocket or something,
Yeah.
whatever you want. And do you want that mic on? Is that the best way?
Go on then.
We've got two on the go. So we are live on SAYFC, but you guys are very famous, so don't worry, this will just be a small thing. It's only like 5-10 minutes, so don't stress. What I'll do is, have we got another chair? Can I get another chair? Michael, could you get us one of those chairs? Just a chair, yeah, cheers. So yeah, for those of you that have watched This Farming Life, there is 2 cameras, I'm aware. I'm really bad at talking to this one. I apologise for being bad at my job. I have not seen This Farming Life. They got very angry at me when I told them that. If you want to hear their story, you can watch on TV, watch BBC iPlayer This Farming Life. You can follow them on Instagram, Facebook. They're very, very, very famous. I'm quite nervous, I'm blushing, I'm getting quite scared, of course. When I had Emma and Ewan on the podcast, I think it was one of my favourite moments so far from the R2Kast. Episode number 50, they burnt the pudding, which was a great shame, and I felt terrible. And wee Len here was not happy, let me tell you. So, Emma, Ewan and Len, would you like to have a wee seat?
How are you?
Very good, yourself?
Yeah, good. We just
Did not
literally-
expect this to happen.
Yeah, we just got here. It's the first thing we just walked in
I'm so
here.
sorry.
Well, no, partly first, and then here, and then it was
Is this a future young farmer?
Well, yeah, he's got the blue. Well, and he's watching all the young farmers coming in their cars and stuff with all the beats going and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those days.
Got beer money together already, and like,
What are you buying with that, Len?
what are you going to buy with this? What do you reckon?
Boy.
Good choice.
Definitely a farmer.
And that for mum and dad. So, for those of you that don't know this pair's story, I don't know how you don't, they're more famous than Barack Obama. It's a really good story in that it's a story into farming, which I always think is quite important, and now you find yourself on another Scottish island, which has been a really cool story. So could you give us a bit of a progression, just basically through the farming life, for both of you?
Oh yeah,
It's
for
different.
both of us. Well, like I was lucky enough, I did grow up on a farm, but I started out pretty much from scratch. So I worked as a shepherd, and then I got some of my own sheep, and then managed to get a small tenancy, and then during that time I met Ewan. Then we got a contract with some really great people, and just kind of built up numbers from there. So we ended up being eventually in a position where we could take over a bigger farm.
For sure.
And then we're on the Isle of Bute. But Ewan is obviously, you know,
What was your story, Ewan, before?
So I was a
It's really focused on this money. I have money today, it's so exciting.
Give me a happy look. It's like, don't you take my money?
I was still a firefighter when I met Emma, and I really got into the farming by accident. But
literally. Yeah, it's a problem, actually. You know, yeah.
So we're hoping like one day to be able to provide that sort of like we were really lucky to get into a contract sharing farming agreement, and we're really hoping that in the future we can offer that out as well to someone else to try and kind of give back to what we were given.
It's a really good point. It's probably one of the biggest problems we have, and something we really need to try and change. You guys were lucky, but I guess the question for yourself, Ewan, what's it like to go from, well, I guess, literal firefighting to hypothetical firefighting at a farm? But you're going from a secure job, I assume, you know, a salaried type position, to that sort of uncertainty. What's that like?
I don't know, it's quite invigorating. Like a secure job. We used to joke sometimes when we were mopping the fire station floor.
Yeah.
They were like well-paid janitors. But we've got the exciting things, but there's a lot of mundane things as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of form filling and checks and and this, it's just different, isn't it? It's like if you have an idea, you have the freedom to go and pursue it.
For sure. Yeah.
Try not to have too many bad ones. But then it's really rewarding when you put all your time and effort into doing something. You get the rewards for it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not that there was a ceiling on ambition for fire service.
Yeah, for sure.
There certainly isn't on that.
That's true. Yeah.
Anything you get into, I don't know. I just find that it's such a different mindset.
Yeah.
You're right. The firefighting thing of putting out flames here, there, and everywhere. That's continued.
Transferable skills.
But it's just different. It's not literal fires. It's just that used hanging along.
For sure. Yeah. So I mean, the sky's the limit. Well, Calmac's probably the limit as well, but
I didn't even get here today. Yeah, I know. It was so foggy. The boat, I was surprised that she managed to land it. The pier just came out with a mist, and we're like,
Tell us about sheepdog school.
yeah. So sheepdog school is our latest thing.
Second baby.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, until we moved to the island, we didn't really have a very good internet reception.
Sure.
So suddenly we moved to the island and we had this internet reception. We thought, you know what? It was harder to bring people to the farm to help them with their dogs, but it was easier to sort of start posting online and whatnot. And obviously we got an Instagram following, so once we started posting, it gave us this kind of idea. Well, obviously Cammy from the Sheep Game, he came out one day and he was like, "You guys are missing a trick. There's this platform called Patron." So we're like, "Oh, that sounds amazing." So we gave that a whirl and we were just blown away. So we post videos on how we train our dogs, and people can follow them, and then they can learn and get tips and tricks from them.
How did you find yourself getting into that side? Was that always a thing from a young kid that you wanted to work with dogs, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I think dogs was kind of an alternative for a pony. We weren't allowed ponies. We weren't allowed dogs to start with.
You had something before legs.
So we're just I wanted something to really throw myself into. So the dogs were that kind of alternative.
Yeah.
So and obviously it went hand in hand with the sheepdogs. And I was allowed a dog because it was a working dog. It's the same with all farmers, isn't it? You're not allowed anything unless it earns its keep.
Nothing frivolous.
Yeah, exactly. And then it went from there, and then ran my first child when I was 21, and that was it. So I was bitten by the bug.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
What a timer to watch.
And do you breed as well? Breed dogs? Is that thing? Yeah. I really had to say dogs.
And everything's going hunky-dory.
I'm just going to call it Sky again. That was it. Do you breed dogs?
Yeah, we do.
It's only hot in here. I must have blown that up too much. This has been a scary day. We'll get you a new balloon. Can we get another balloon? That's terrible.
What did we do? What did I do?
Just got so hot from the flustering, you know.
Oh dear.
For those of you that are just sort of listening, you probably can't see me just realise what I'd asked there, but these things happen. This is the joy of life. But,
so we breed dogs, not often, but yeah, we do. But our mainstay of our sort of income is training them. So we'll take a pup, and border collie pups aren't too expensive. Train it up and then sell it, at auction.
For sure.
Generally now.
Tell us, this is a question for both of you, maybe a bit more yourself, Emma, but 5 years ago social media was not a thing for a lot of you, definitely for yourselves. How has that impacted life for you guys?
like just like coming somewhere like this where everybody can like comes up to you and they kind of know your story.
Yes.
They come up and they're like, I saw that little lamb. How's that getting on now? And I saw your calf had done such and such 2 days ago, and that's really cool. It's like it makes you feel kind of a bit special and a bit privileged that people have actually taken enough of an interest in your life that they can follow it. And it's not until you come somewhere like here where you can actually, meet and speak to people, you realise that actually people are watching you, and that's pretty cool.
I take it walking through your show is quite difficult for you too.
Well, this is the first place I've come to.
Yeah, you've already been on Instagram videos. I had one more thing to say. What was it? But that's it. Question for you both. Do you class yourself as an influencer or a, let's say, farming celebrity?
Oh my god, well, it's not an either or, is it? Because I hate the word influencer.
But you're a massive influencer to this wee guy, yeah? The user that. I think we've oversighted this word influencer and we've sort of seen it as this. So I actually think we've probably underplayed it.
The word influencer, I don't know. It almost means that it almost says that you've reached a thing and then people want to imitate you, and I feel like, I don't know if I feel that we're at that level. Like, I don't feel that we're like super duper farmers that people should.
There's kind of like a thing where you realise that whatever you do is kind of visible.
For sure.
So you don't really want to be doing anything wrong, but it also means you've got the chance, if you are doing something good, to be able to talk about it. So
that's very
having
true.
that awareness, a responsibility, I guess. So
I think as well that we've always been really transparent. Like when we were on the show, we just said like we never censored anything, and I think it's the same on Instagram. We never censor anything. Like I know we did a takeover with these guys the other day, and I posted the prices we got in the mart, and they wrote back and they said, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like why? It's just open. It should be open." And I think everybody. I don't think you can afford to censor everything. You have to just go. This is our life, and
I completely agree. And I think, do you know, I've filmed 108 podcasts now, or whatever it is, and I would say 90% of the people say this. They're like, there's this idea that we shouldn't share, but I want to, and I'm like, well, there's this change in narrative where before, like, a dead lamb was like taboo. You couldn't mention that. Now, it's a bad thing. We want to prevent it, but it's reality. We've got to talk about this, and I think it's so true. Looking at figures, looking at whatever.
And also I think it's good, especially when we're in farming and we're talking about mental health and stuff. I think sometimes you think you're the only people going through something, but you go onto social media and you realise that everybody's in the same boat, and there's always people there to support you.
For sure.
There's always the people that are there going, we've only lost one lamb all year, and them sorts of people, but we know they're making it up.
Any needs?
That would be
No, it's not an accident. I've caused enough trauma by asking to read. Here guys, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
I would actually just like to direct a little statement to these guys, a very exciting thing that happened to me at the Highland Show last year. I was working on the SRUC tent, and feel free to go see it air show today. If you're looking at studying a land-based qualification, agriculture, engineering, wildlife conservation management, go check that out. But I was on the stand, and it's probably the moment I felt really famous. I was speaking to a prospective student who we now have at the college, and everybody in you and Irvin came and spoke to me, and I said, sorry guys, 2 wee seconds. To do with. And they came back into the chat.
Just a minute.
But no, thank you both very much. Appreciate your time hugely.
And thank you for the balloon. Like, I hope the standard of your balloons is not up to much.
Definitely was me that blew them up.
Blew them up and blew them out.
Thank you both very much. Thank you very much, Lynn.
Hey, Ollie, so what's that?
Handshake.
I'm not right.
How'd you doing?
Absolutely left dangling here. Good man. I'm going to steal those mics off you, Chips. You're absolutely Thank you so much. And
So he's over the man. It's like, are we going to Bounty Castle? Well, that's absolutely about 5 miles away.
thank you both very much. Appreciate that. That was great. Awesome. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Is it there or no? I was like, are you driving home?
Oh no, that doesn't seem good. No, I will probably see you later. Good to see you. Thank you very much. That was obviously farming fame there, so that was a joy. Thank you to Emma and Ewan and Len for getting involved there. It's very difficult when you're trying to film and also be the star of the show. I am not a star in any way, but I'm going to shout who is about to be the star.
Yeah.
Christine, you look to die for. Quick camp, aren't you? I hope if you're listening that you're enjoying it. Can I just have a wee look at what it looks like? Is there any people in? Oh, there's quite a few people.
Oh,
you get little.
Yeah. So many.
I'm assuming they can hear us. If they can't, that's a shame.
They were on it, they said it was a wee bit quiet.
I can't really hear it. Quiet means not silent, so that's a good thing. I probably will say to those of you listening on Instagram Live, I've said it a few times and I'll just take a minute to do it. A-Plan Rural here do sponsor the R2Kast. Also a quick shout out to the Scottish Farmer who assists there as well. But this podcast today is very much sponsored by A-Plan Rural, who've helped with our SAYFC tent. I'm sure you'd agree, Colin. Really helped us a lot be able to do what we're doing, so thank you to them. I'll quickly bring you over to this little graphic here made by the wonderful Emily Simpson, who is in the room somewhere, probably avoiding camera. Dumfries and Galloway, Ayrshire, Lanarkshire, Clyde and Central. If you find yourself in any of these regions, basically this part of Scotland, and you want to join, come here, we can get you signed up. Also, if you're in any part of Scotland, whether that is from Stranraer to Shetland, 2 S's works perfect, I am skillful. Get in touch and join along, because I genuinely can't stress how beneficial this has been to me, to Colin behind the camera, to Jane a minute ago, and I'm sure a lot of the people, maybe give us a wee spin around there, Colin, in the room today. I'm just going to bring you over to one more thing. We mentioned it earlier here. SAYFC again is not just well, it is a member-driven organisation, but it's not just events. It's not just having fun. Oh, have we? Perfect. I'll just let you go round, yeah. Maybe give us a wee spin as to how Ayr's looking. What a day. Sorry. So yeah, are you okay? As you can see, not at all doing the job of, for example, RSABI that will be able to talk to you, but we are definitely a medium for you to come through. Someone you can speak to. Maybe you know me in a club, maybe you know Colin, maybe you know this gentleman here. You can go speak to them, you don't have to phone someone you don't know, and we can get you the help you require if that's what you need. So we'll come on in and we'll continue on with who is one of the stalwarts of agriculture in Scotland. I have sunglasses on, we are inside, I'm a silly man. I would just like to quickly interrupt the show for a minute to give you some extra information on our primary sponsors, A-Plan Rural. A-Plan offer bespoke cover for farms and estates the UK over, and will give you tailored insurance for anything on the farm, from your old workhorse tractor that's been around 20 years or a fancy new and exciting diversification. This here, with a rosette because she is the best on the planet, is Christine Cuthbertson. Christine, would you like to come over? I'm just going to pop some mics on you, Christine, because everyone wants to hear your story. You have no reason to be shy. No. You're one of the best people I know.
Oh, right.
Yes,
I'll give you that fiver after this.
That's perfect. I'll just have 20 would be better if possible. Can we just pop that in there, Christy? Is that okay? Sorry, I hope there's nothing important in that pocket. I'm sure most of you recognise this lovely lady, especially those in Ayrshire. She is repping RET, as we can see here, Royal Highland Education Trust, of which Christine is the chair in Ayrshire. I was, unfortunately for Christine, her vice chair for a year, but I did move to Dumfries and Galloway, so I probably did some good things for Ayrshire when I left. As you can see on this lovely rosette, it is the 20-year anniversary for RET Ayrshire and Arran. So a big
Thank you to Ayrshire who provided these for us.
Thank you to Ayrshire, fantastic.
Thank you so much.
So you're nervous, a Brandon goddess here. And can I say, you look lovely, Christine, you really do.
It's very frizzy here. Just like your beard was.
So for the last, I'm not going to say the number because I don't know it, you've been a regional manager for NFU Scotland. Now you're in a new position, is that right?
Yes, I'm with the Monitor Farm programme in Scotland.
Which is very exciting, and I tell you what, we'll give you a nice comfy seat. You'll notice there's 3 chairs. That is because Emma Gray and you and Irvin just appeared with wee Len, so you're more famous than them, let's be serious. After yourself. So Christine, tell us a little bit about Crispine? No, Christine Cuthbertson.
Well, I think I actually did one of your podcasts before, so probably a lot of my life dumpers on that was.
Well, if you want to go listen to Christine's story, R2Kast number 15, I think. I kind of show off these numbers, but I just say numbers that could be entirely wrong.
It seems a long time ago.
Most of the time you were one of being in the R2Kast now, everyone does it, you know, but you're one of the originals, the OGs.
Trailblazer.
Absolutely.
Trailblazer was. As were you.
Well, I wasn't on the podcast earlier, but no. Tell us about yourself. What's been your life in farming, Christine?
Well, obviously I was born on a farm, beef and sheep farm near Cumnock, and I think there's a saying, it's in your blood, and it's definitely in my blood. So I went on to be at Auchengrove and study with SAYFC. I did a degree in food production and land use with them. And then I went on to a career with NFU Scotland selling insurance originally. I had my own insurance business, so at the age of 23 I had the opportunity to run my own business, which was fantastic. And I would say to people out there, nobody tells you about insurance as a career, but insurance really is about people, and I love people and I love farmers, so an insurance career with farmers and helping them solve problems was fantastic.
You know, that passion's always really shown through you. It's been so clear how much that you say I love farmers all the time. I'm sure a lot of people say that, but it's so, you mean it.
Oh yes,
you can see it's
absolutely.
there. And just when we mentioned insurance, we'll probably do a quick shout out. Thank you to the sponsors of this podcast today. A-Plan, as you see next to us, making this possible, so that was very good of them. What was next after owning your own business?
Well, I did that for 10 years and then I went on to be regional manager, so still within NFU Scotland. And I worked in Lothian and Borders, Forth and Clyde region, but always Ayrshire as well at my heart of that. And that was really about political engagement and supporting members. Obviously, as a union, a trade body, you get into quite nitty-gritty issues that farmers were having. So the farmer's agony aunt, I suppose, the farmer's friend. But you'd also get into quite good challenging situations in dealing with utility problems, staffing issues, really any problem that a farmer had to do with a farm business, we were there to help, and personally as well too.
No, and that's great though, and I think, do you know that the member sides, what SAYFC's member driven?
Yeah, absolutely.
Member driven. A union, something we see in everything. What was, no, we're not here to speak about NFU, but just a quick question. What's the NFU's role in the sector? You know, what are they?
Well, really it's to make sure that, you know, agriculture is first and foremost in the minds of stakeholders and politicians. So we are a political, I don't work for the Regulos, I'm still a member. We are a lobby organisation to make sure that we are there in front of government. And if you look at the lobbying statistics, NFU Scotland always sits about first or second in how much we lobby. But we're also there to support our members.
For sure.
You know, any industry you're in, it's always about the people, and it's people first. And that's what we do, is we put the farmers at the heart of everything to make sure that they're represented, be that with a wider issue or an issue that's just happening on farm.
And last year came, which meant one of the biggest losses since Brazil lost 7-1 to Germany in 2014 for the Ayrshire region, when you decided to depart and move on to what you're currently doing now. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so now I'm a regional advisor with the Monitor Farm programme, which is sponsored by Scottish Government, but it's very much farmer-led and farmer-driven. So the Monitor Farm programme has been in place in Scotland since the early 2000s, a concept that came from New Zealand, and it's all about peer-to-peer learning and development. So I've got 3 farms on the west coast, the Archibalds and Isla, the Duncan family at the top side of Longmorland, and the David and John Andrew at Rowinston Farm. So I have worked with John Andrew for 25 years. We got the flag site when I was leaving NFU, and I'm still working with him.
And how is that though? It's not just, this industry is in no way linear. There's so much.
Yes,
I actually think I saw David recently.
Well, I think he's at the top there actually.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about.
How are you enjoying that job?
It's absolutely amazing. It's so positive. It's very solutions driven. So it's about business improvement and becoming sustainable. So the Monitor Farm programme is 3 pillars. One is economics. You can't have a business without economics. environment, which is hugely important because you have to be able to look after the environment you're in, which farmers do, but develop and nurture the environment. And also that could be climatic changes which are happening and making it more challenging to farm. And the third pillar, which I think is one of the most important ones, is social. Actually bringing people together, so if you're all together and you've all had a bad lambing, and to talk about that, you don't feel alone, you don't feel isolated. So it's the three pillars that keep that whole thing together. There's also opportunities to look at new technologies and innovations, but the core of it is having really sustainable businesses predominantly in the beef and sheep and arable sector.
And I think, we've mentioned Are You OK? We've mentioned I think mentioned RSABI before. That's so important. Like, COVID proved how important human interaction was. I knew it was important, but my God, I knew it was important after COVID. I was so ready to open up. I was so ready to see people. And I would class myself as a relatively social person, but I found myself insulated. Even this R2K thing was probably useful in that I was meeting other folk, but not everyone did that, and it was really difficult for some folks. So I think that's very important. I couldn't agree more.
Well, I never used to be a hugger before COVID, and I am now. And unfortunately, if you see me, I will give you a hug now, which some farmers are aghast at. But I just think, life's too short. Embrace life, be positive, and hug it out.
I must say, I'm a massive fan. Get the chance to hug someone like Christy, something I really enjoy.
You've made my year show.
One last question, Christy. What is RET?
RET is the Royal Highland Education Trust, and we have our own charity, a branch of that in Ayrshire. So we are the Royal Highland Education Trust, Ayrshire and Arran, of course. How we first came across, and when you were a very young man at that time. Before the beard.
No,
not before the beard, I'm sure it was. Oh, actually, you had a beard since you were about 13, haven't you?
I'm probably 15 yet.
But really, I'm so passionate. I think I said to you that RET is the best thing ever, and it is because we're a charity. We take children onto farms and farmers go into schools, and it's that knowledge between the two which is absolutely fantastic. So school kids, we are speaking to the consumers of the future, and we're also speaking to the workforce of the future, and it's so important. It's the easiest way that farmers can connect with their consumer, with children's faces when they see livestock for the first time, when they see a farmer for the first time, when they see a tractor for the first time. They've not seen these before, and food is so ultra high processed now that it doesn't look like what it actually is. But we're all animals, and that connection back to nature is fantastic. I would also say to people to get involved with it as well, because for me, in terms of my mental health and the difference that I see in people, sharing that positive experience is fantastic with other like-minded volunteers, but also rather than always being on social media all the time, where there can be a lot of negative spaces there, when you come back to that real positive children being engaged and loving what you do, you can't put a value on that. And do you know something? It's free for farmers to do. It doesn't cost a penny, just a bit of time, but the reach and the effect. Those kids, you'll forget an advert on Facebook in 5 seconds. They never forget having been to a farm. You ask children if they're 20, 25, 40, they remember that first touch experience they had with farming, and it costs nothing. But we do need to fundraise, and we do need money to help in terms of logistics. In terms of the farmer, a wee bit of time. We do the risk assessment. We've got a great project coordinator, Jane Cameron, a great committee. If you do anything, get involved with us, and you won't regret it.
And you know that regret it. You will not regret it.
You will not. Oh, that's well done.
I'm quite proud of that. That point is so true. I've done live lambings. I've done walks around the farm, the home farm, and seeing Alistair Love as a guy I always quote. I don't quote him. You can't quote happiness, but the way he spoke about the first time he had kids on the farm, he's just so positive. He's so happy about it. It was, forget the kids for a second, it was a massive mental boost for the farmer. But no, Christine, as always, an absolute pleasure to see you. If I could spend 8 minutes with you every day, I would be a happier man, let me tell you. I'm just thinking, there's one more person that is in the room that I think would be quite good to film. I think we could get Penny. Yeah. just goes back to Christian. Thanks so much.
No bother at all. Another hug. Absolutely.
I'll take that off you there, and I'll take that off you there. Thank you so much.
What's that going to be on?
So it's live on SAYFC at the minute.
Oh, it's lovely.
I said that. I did say. I said when I came to. I did. And then it's going to be on the the R2Kast is a bonus episode as well. So you're a star as always. You have no need to be shy. You're amazing at what you do. Think she'll do it or no? Too far away. Maybe not with the kids.
It's the same team.
That seems fine. That seems fine.
Having a family day, that's fine.
Absolutely fine. I just think we call it. Cammy's probably really busy.
Yeah.
If you want to find Cammy's story, R2Kast 7 or literally all the videos on YouTube. Thank you for whoever's came along and watched live. I hope you've enjoyed. For those of you over here, if you're watching this, I don't know where you'll be watching this, I hope you've enjoyed the bonus episode of the R2Kast. Maybe important call, we maybe just do one wee circuit of what's here. This is the West region, but obviously SAYFC is nationwide. If you're in Scotland, YFC, Young Farmers Federation, I think. If you're out with Scotland, if you want to get involved in Young Farmers, there's so many opportunities that it can offer you. Here we have R2Kast, which we've got over there as well, our development and wellbeing team, as part of one of the national committees here at SAYFC. Look at making sure the social aspects of the club are on tip-top form. Assistance in mental health, physical health, everything. Those guys are here to make sure we're not just here being silly, we're doing everything correctly. A final thank you to our sponsors of the show today and also sponsors of this SAYFC tent, which, Colin, if you want to do one more circuit, we can show is very good. Thank you to Fraser for that. And if you do like the podcast, feel free to follow on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever the hell else you manage to find me. We've now just released the 104th episode, I think it is, 102nd episode, sorry. We've started a new series, so we have the Food and Farming podcast. After that, we now have the All In podcast, which welcomes anyone on. On Monday, we have a professional footballer. In a few weeks' time, we have 2 people who have travelled between 88 countries between them. It's all going well. R2Kast is going strong. Thank you very much to Colin for holding the camera, to Jane for holding the camera earlier, and yous for listening in. See you later on. I hope you've enjoyed another excellent episode of the R2Kast. I just want to take this moment to quickly thank our primary sponsors once more, A-Plan Rural. If you follow A-Plan on social media, you'll see the work they're doing to really promote British farming and back our industry. It's been a pleasure working alongside A-Plan Rural so far, and long may it continue. The values of A-Plan Rural runs perfectly in line with the whole mantra of Rural to Kitchen, and I'm glad to have them on board. Check them out on Instagram at A-Plan Rural and on Facebook at A-Plan Rural Insurance. See you for the next podcast.